Contemplation on time. A proverb. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow never comes. Live today well. Time appears to me like one of the greatest illusions we create with our mind. We cut life into parts of centuries, years, months, weeks, days, hours, minutes, and even seconds. Why should one have the need to cut something whole into pieces? To organize life? To make and keep appointments? For what? Life is by itself well organized. In the morning, the sun rises and the daylight gives us the opportunity to do a lot of things. And in the evening, when the sun sets, life gives us another opportunity to rest and recharge, or to celebrate, or to do whatever. Mostly we simply sleep. But we want to make these appointments in life, these deals, and we don't want that they go wrong. So we need time to organize these deals we want to make. Would we otherwise know at what time The school starts, the yoga class starts, the meal is ready, the bus goes, the work is done, and so on. Of course, would we know that? When I was young, I've been traveling to the South Pacific. And it left me in awe when I first heard that the language in Polynesia doesn't have a form for the verbs for the past or the future. I go, I went, I will go doesn't exist in their language, and so also not in their consciousness, because language is an expression of thought. But of course, they can express if something lies behind them or is in front of them. So they say, I go 1 year ago, or I go in 2 years. But the action is always in the present moment. And that shows that these people are much more rooted in the presence than the normal Westerner. I've lived a few, not many, but a few years of my life as a dropout, completely outside of society, in nature. And the funny thing was that when you live in nature and you have no clocks nowhere, you start to forget the time. And if you are in a place where nature is yet intact, and maybe even in a power place, it doesn't take so very long until you start feeling the presence. Unhindered by the mind, which constantly is planning or recapturing or organizing life. When we live in the natural rhythm, in synchronicity with the rhythms of life, and not with the rhythms of the clock and the dictated time, life becomes really different. It gets a different quality. In the industrialized societies, stress is a very, very common disease, which is caused by constant pressure related to time. You have to manage to achieve this or that in this or that time. And otherwise the deal flops, or things are lost, or punishment happens. I would even go so far to say that the stress to live in unnatural time rhythms, which are which come from the outside, which are doctrines, rules, and not the natural rhythm of life. This stress due to time is one of the basic root causes for every disease, because it simply cuts life into pieces. How then the energy of life, our life force, wants to flow freely when we, with our mind, constantly have to put our energy into boxes, pieces, into limits of certain times, into time limits. To my view, these time limits are inhuman. They are not truly human. They don't correspond with the natural human being. I can give you only examples why I think this. For example, at school, we have a child who was always a good student, and suddenly something happened, and so that child is not able to study anymore like before. But of course he has to, because that's the deal. During this and that time, this pupil has to learn this and that stuff, no matter if he's capable or not. So if he's capable, bravo, bravo. If he's not capable, punishment will happen. And this is inhuman, because we are no machines. We are not a machine. We are not a machine. For sure not. So let's say we don't want to abolish this whole system. At least we want to make it in a way that helps human being and not hurts them, in a way that supports them and not punishes them, in a way that puts the value of love and unity of mankind higher than profit. It is as a fact so that this earth and some people here are so very, very immensely rich. There is truly enough there for everybody. And why we don't see this in our societies? Why we see that people who have been already millionaires became richer and richer and earned even more than the double than usual in the last years. And so many other people are getting poorer and poorer. What sign of time is that? People talk about the end time, which is the end of time. Can we imagine that? In the golden age, in the kingdom of God, time does not interest anybody anymore. How long will it still take until we as a collective will get there? It seems to me very clear that we have to liberate ourselves from the chains of time, from the chains of a perverted mind to get there. I want to finish here with the words of my master Osho. He said, "The mind is a beautiful servant, but a dangerous master." I wish you a good time, a blessed time. Stay healthy and protected.